Accepting these South African farmers is exactly what our country was founded on. Giving white landowners special treatment. We're not just accepting a few white African refugees, we're creating new refugees all over the world. It's easier for white people to assimilate to American culture because they look like me. That's why it's so hard for me to get along with my children. My kids make up 3/5 of my family, and unfortunately, they're only going to count as 3/5 of a person soon. These immigrants will assimilate. I mean, they believe in conspiracy theories, they're running away from their problems, and they're trying to pretend that segregation in their country wasn't that bad. They're going to fit right in. If your country voted to take away your private property, please come to America, where we will never do that because you probably will not be able to afford owning private property. They're running away because the great replacement is not a conspiracy theory. You know who'd make a great replacement for me is anyone. And we need more white people because our next civil war is going to be interracial. It's going to pit brother against brother and sister against sister. And from what I can tell, based on the videos I've watched on the internet, brothers and sisters are already getting pretty rowdy.
Good morning. Those South African refugees that are coming over, guess where they're going? Anybody want to guess? Yeah, JD's company, JD Vance. He's been buying up farmland. Farmland that all you farmers can't afford anymore. So JD's company bought it. And the refugees, the white ones from South Africa, that's who's going to be doing the farming. So all you farmers who voted for Trump and lost your land to JD Vance, now your farmland's going to be farmed by refugees. From South Africa. True story. Yep. That's what you voted for. Around and found out.
Hi everyone, welcome back to this channel. Thank you so much for clicking on today's episode. I really appreciate your love and your support. If you're new here, my name is Vanessa, and I have seen how MAGA farmers are super disappointed by what is coming on their way, which is different from what they voted for. We know all these white South Africans who moved to America under refugee status are said to be farmers. So these MAGA farmers who supported Donald Trump with all their energies to make their dreams become true, they are now freaking, they are crying because what they have been working for is not going to be achieved.
I don't know if it's true that their farmlands are going to be given to those white South Africans, but if it's true, I might be so disgusted. Like, I don't really understand how can this happen, because MAGA farmers might meet different consequences like bankruptcies, land losses. So I don't know what you think, guys, but stick with me as we unpack what I have prepared for you today. A credit goes to all original creators that we're going to see on our screens. I'll be back with more commentary. Welcome.
If you're wondering where all these South Africans are gonna go, don't worry. They already had a plan in place, and it was called Acre Trader. That's right, they already took the farmland from farmers who were failing. As a matter of fact, they have about 40,000 acres of farmland that they took from American farmers because they wouldn't give them subsidies. Acre Trader is an American real estate investment company that specializes in farmland. It says here that the company aims to increase investor access to real estate assets and provides capitals to farmers and growers to expand their business. But what they failed to leave out here is that the first investor into Acre Trader was none other than J.D. Vance. You know J.D. Vance, the one who was in charge of the White House with the president who is cutting all the subsidies to the farmers? Yeah, that J.D. Vance. And what they also failed to mention is the fact that the people who were investing, yeah, they were South Africaners. And guess who just came to America to go on these farms? That's right. You guessed it. Are you sick of it yet? Are you sick of it yet? $880 billion being pulled from Medicaid so they can fund tax money going to the rich. Your farmland being taken away from American farmers and being given to South African refugees. People being human trafficked all over the United States and outside of this country for financial gain. Minimum wage of $7.25 hasn't been raised since 2009. You can't afford health care. You can't afford your car insurance. You're probably not going to be able to buy a home anytime soon. And grocery prices are through the roof. And guess who's going to own your food now? The People's Sick Day is coming. It's going to be a 1 to 3 day collection of people who are going to take back their power by setting down. No more showing up for work when you're making peanuts and they're giving away your farmland to foreigners. You better join us, because unless we stand up, none of us are going to win this fight.
So folks, as you may know, there are a group of Afrikaners, white South Africans have come over to the United States this week, and it's first load of South Africans to assist and help revitalize the farming industry in the United States, and it's quite controversial, as you know. Well, Donald Trump is very disappointed to find out that this group of people who just came over this week actually have no farming experience. They have no knowledge of farming, and none of them actually had farms in South Africa. When they found out that they were actually a collection of security guards, actually part-time rappers, and a guy called Bradley who almost bought a tractor once. So this is obviously a real disappointment, PR exercise failure for the Trump administration.
Has anyone gotten on like the farmers TikTok where they're talking about the South African farmers being brought over? So I turned 43 in a couple weeks, and in my lifetime, I remember the fall of apartheid. I remember when it ended, and I remember there was the Truth and Reconciliation, I think it was committee or conference. Anyway, they televised it, and that's where people came and they testified to atrocities, and there were people who were also held accountable and had to apologize, right? If I remember correctly, there was also like court hearings as well. But these farmers that are talking about the refugee white African farmers coming to the United States aren't looking at it from the bigger picture. Like, number one, I don't think they're aware of what apartheid is. I don't think they're aware of like how brutal it was and how a lot of these particular white people want that brutality back. They want a segregation of races. That's why they're asking to come here. So I first saw this with Skylar, the farmer in Missouri who was worried about losing his farm due to a cancellation of the contracts that were made under the Biden administration, and how they're not being honored under the Trump administration. So he was really worried about that situation for himself, as one would be, right? So I have nothing but sympathy in that situation. But now that things seem to be a little more resolved, he's still not looking at the bigger picture, because he's talking about the South African farmers coming here and how awesome it is. He doesn't look old enough, to me, I don't know how old he is, but he doesn't look old enough to remember the fall of apartheid. And honestly, I don't think most Americans do. My dad had a lot of connections to the international news desk at CNN way back then, and his best friend was a producer. So I think that's why it was something that we saw a lot of in our house. But yeah, these farmers are excited that there's going to be white refugees coming in here to like take sanctuary and help out on farms. I don't think they know that these farmers, for the most part, aren't actually farmers, and that they used slave labor. Like, they mistreated people. It's kind of like Elon Musk's family. People don't seem to understand that Emerald Mine was exploited labor. you know, it was stolen resources and it was exploited labor. And that's exactly what these farmers, and they're not all farmers, by the way. A lot of them are just inner city people, Afrikaners. And there's a difference there too. Anyway, the gist of it is, they think, it seems, that they're going to have help on their farms by bringing these people over. So I think I don't want to say it for sure, but it feels like they're thinking they're going to get an exchange from undocumented labor, from people of color, to white legal labor that might be subsidized by the government, because under refugee status, there are some benefits that get extended. So I'm starting to wonder here. I'm starting to wonder if they know what the deal is and how detrimental this is to everybody. You know, I think that we could talk all day long to a lot of these people about the problem with race relations in South Africa, and they may not actually understand it. But I do think that if we spoke to them about possibly this labor situation and their farms, it's a system to take their farms, not to give it to South Africans, but to give it to corporations. So bringing in this labor is not actually going to save them in the long run. It's just a new segue to corporate purchase of their private farms. I have several clients from South Africa who have moved here for various reasons. Even my chiropractor is from South Africa, from Johannesburg. People don't know here that Dutch people, for the most part, it was the Dutch, who came into South Africa and brutally took over. Like, they wiped out the people who actually lived there and forced them into subservience. They stole the land. And then they made the people who were African work on these farms. They made the Africans build the cities. And then they pushed all of the people who built the cities into ghettos like Soweto.
I got another question for MAGA. How do you feel about these South Afrikaners coming in and being literally immigrants? Like, I thought you hated immigrants. Or is that only the ones that aren't this color? Because, I mean, America first. You would think we would maybe house our homeless people, the veterans, maybe, help them out, help out anybody that is in our country. But no, we're going to cut subsidies for the people that are actually suffering in our country, but then bring over these people to take our farmland. And y'all are okay with that. Nice. These people are going to be on food stamps and welfare and government subsidies that they are getting because of some refugee program that Trump signed them up through. I don't even begin to understand, nor do I care, because they are not welcome as far as I'm concerned. If Trump isn't allowing any refugees, then no refugees. How about that?
Alright, guys, allow me to talk a little bit about America First as Donald Trump's slogan that he used to manipulate or to change so many people's mind to put their trust in him, where he promised Americans that he is going to make them prioritized in terms of their development. Let's just talk about farmers today. This America First was there to protect US crops from cheap foreign products and bring back jobs to the US, and of course getting better trade deals for Americans' goods like soybeans, corn, pork, and so on. But by the time that we have seen these these special refugees that came to America, it brought something scary. Because if it said that their farmlands are going to be given to them, absolutely there will not be that benefits. Imagine, like, I don't understand how these MAGA farmers did their best, voted for this guy, but it's so sad to see a specific team which came from another country to be replaced, to be engaged. So MAGA farmers often supported Trump, believing that he might prioritize them, that he would protect Americans, with the belief that he might protect American interests, fight immigration, and prioritize America first. But what he's doing now is the opposition. Instead of prioritizing the Americans, he's just putting much interest to those refugees. I don't know what you think about this, because if those white South Africans were farmers in their country, if they have moved to America, what do you think that they are going to be? What do you think that they are going to be working on? Because it said that they will be also provided with jobs. So those farmers are not going to become doctors or any other job that is different from farming. We don't know how long it's going to take to make them integrated to the society, but what we know, they are going to be in farming. So MAGA farmers, how do you feel this after voting for Trump and you feel betrayed? Because if you were promised that you're going to be prioritized, of course, with your lands, with your jobs, with your businesses, of course, there might be change, because this is going to be like competition between you and those white South Africans. There might be more expectations that made him bring them, probably believing that they are going to make America great again in terms of producing more eggs, more groceries, crops, and so on. So you might work hard on what you have been doing. You might be more creative. I can't say that this is the end, because even if they will be integrated, even if there will be given those farmlands, of course, you will be working. So you better train yourself to be more competitive, because handing land to foreigners, even these white South Africans, this might be seen as betrayal, isn't it? I don't know what you think, guys. Tell me in the comment section. But what I can add is this: while these white South Africans may culturally blend more easily into white rural America, resentment could still grow due to perceived favoritism or government support. So I don't know if after all this that are happening now in America, those MAGA farmers or those who have been supporting this man, they would still get their benefits, or they would still get those support that they were supposed to get. Let's just leave these white South Africans. What about these tariffs? Tariffs are really hurting farmers because of losing their market to their products. Okay, I know that most of you supported tariffs, and I would also say that you didn't know how tariffs works. So by the time these tariffs were implicated, immediately consequences came back to you guys. Imagine working hard for your farm to make it more productive. When you get those products, grow enough products to your market, then you lose clients. Because China now has changed the direction, it's not coming to you guys because you've supported tariffs, extra taxes on them. What if it's you? Even if that would happen to me, I would choose to go and buy what I need from somewhere else, where I'm not paying those extra taxes. I don't know how you feel about this, because it's really painful. It's so sad. Imagine voting for deportations just to make some community to feel not included in the US citizenship, but now you've lost workers in your farms. So feel free, open your arms for those white refugees that are going to come. I don't know if they will work for you. I don't know if you're going to work for them. But what I know, this farming industry is going to be destroyed, because all those experts, all those people who were good at their jobs, they are deported. They are sent back to their countries. And now you are receiving people from another country who are not used to your farming strategies. So which is going to take you much energy, much time to train them to become the best as those you have missed, as the ones that you've departed. In this world, whatever you will do with hatred, you will never reap a sweet fruit. You will always reap the fruit which is reflecting what you did. Most of you were told and advised not to do that, but you just went ahead and voted for him, so you might now start to feel happy and enjoy what you voted for. So thank you so much for watching till the end. I really appreciate your love and your support. How do you think that these MAGA farmers are going to survive all these consequences? Because it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be so painful. Drop your opinions down below. See you in the next episode.